Hey, sixth grade. We are going to get started with our lesson on solving equations with addition and subtraction. We're going to get a little crazy and do some inverse operations here. So, we have one learning goal for today, and our learning goal is I will use inverse operations to solve equations. Okay, next up. So there's your learning goal. Make sure you get that in your notes. We have 2 vocabulary words for this lesson, and each vocabulary word has 2 important parts to it, so make sure that you get all of it in your notes. So our first vocabulary word is equations, and they can be, written by setting 2 algebraic expressions against each other. All right, and these equations are solved by using inverse operations. And if you're sitting there wondering what in the world are inverse operations, well, that is your second vocabulary word. And basically, inverse operations are the opposite of each other. So addition and subtraction are inverse operations. It's important to remember that they can undo each other. All right? Yes, that'll be huge when it comes to what we're getting going on in this lesson. So we're going to give this whole inverse operation thing a little try. In these equations, we are actually going to find the values of our variables. Instead of what we've been doing, and our answers just have the m and the x and the y's in them, we're actually going to solve and find out what x equals. We're going to find the value of m. So let's see, did I turn my pen back on? Looks like it. And let's change it to, let's change my pen to a fun color. All right, so our first one is going to be m plus 7 equals 11. All right, so we've learned that inverse operations undo one another. And basically we just use the opposite operation. So we can see in this equation that we're adding. The opposite of addition is, if you said subtraction, you got it right. So we are going to have to subtract on both sides of the equal sign in order to solve for m. So we'd start with subtracting 7 on the left side, and we'll subtract 7 on the right side. Now, 7 minus 7, that cancels each other out. So 7 minus 7 is 0. Bring down the m. You have m plus 0 equals whatever 11 minus 7 equals. So 11 minus 7 equals 4. We don't need to worry about the 0. So basically m equals 4. Now, 6th grade, we're going to check our work. So we have to replace the m with the 4 and see if we come up with our correct answer. So it would be 4 plus 7 equals 11. Is that correct? Did we do our work correctly? And yes, we did, because 4 plus 7 does equal 11. All right, let's try another one. 5 equals x minus 8. So this time we're subtracting. And we still have to do the whole inverse operation thing. And the opposite of subtracting is adding, which means we have to add 8 to both sides of the equal sign. We have to keep it balanced and even. So minus 8 plus 8, well, that cancels each other out. We wind up with 0 again. So on the right side, we have x minus or plus 0. It won't matter. Get rid of that. 5 plus 8 equals 13. So right here we see that x equals 13. Well, let's check our work. Let's see what happens. 5 equals 13, because we replaced the x with 13, minus 8. Well, when we subtract 8 from 13, what do we get? We wind up with 5. So, yep, once again, we solved correctly. Now, I'm going to give you a couple to do on your own in your notes. So hang on just a second. Let's get rid of all of this other stuff. All right, here's a couple for you to do in your notes. So you have b plus 5.67 equals 12 and 89/100ths. You're going to have to solve for b. And then our second one is 25 minus x equals 17. Remember to use inverse operations when you are solving these. Also, remember to go back and check your work like we did on the two that we did together. This time, we're going to be given solutions, and we need to figure out if the answer is correct or if it's true. So what this means is, let's say we have x equals 25. Is that the correct solution to x plus 17 equals 8? Well, let's figure it out. We have to rewrite the equation with 25 in place of the x. So 25 plus 17 equals 8. Well, we have to add 25 plus 17. When we put those together, that gets us what, 42? So does 42 equal 8? No, it does not. That means that 25 cannot, that x cannot be equal to 25. That is not the correct solution. Let's try another one though, see if we can get any of these correct. Let's get rid of all of this old stuff. All right, so how about this one? If let's say x equals 16, and is that the correct solution for the equation x minus 12 equals 4? Well, let's replace the x with 16. 16 minus 12 equals 4. Is that correct? And yes, it is. That means we have correctly or that means that x is true. X can equal 16 in this particular equation. We're going to get a little frisky, and we're going to try this with fractions. Is x equals 2 1/3, is that a solution to the equation 17 2/3 equals x plus 15 1/3? So we have to add these together, or we have to substitute the 2 1/3 in for x. So if we have 2 1/3 plus 15 1/3, let's see what we get for that. 1/3 plus 1/3, well, that equals 2/3. And 2 plus 15 equals 17. So, is that a true statement for x? Does x equal 2 1/3? And yes, it does. It proves to be true in this one. So, now, let's erase this. I'm going to give you a few of these to do on your own. Make sure you get them all in your notes. I'll take a look at them in class. So, you have to figure out if the solution that is given to you, if it's true or if it's false. So if you have w equals 22 56/100ths, is that a solution to w plus 3.14 equals 27? All right, just figure out if that's true or false. And then B, we're going to say B is equal to 7.22. Is that the correct solution to B plus 5 67 equals 12 89? So, show your work and bring it to class with you, and I'll see y'all in class.